Hey, so I've been thinking a lot about cellulite lately, and also sorry too if the levels are weird. I've gone through my third pair of headphones that like exploded on one side, so I can barely hear myself, or I don't know what I sound like. But yeah, anyway, I've been thinking a lot about cellulite, and I was like, the other day I was like, man, I don't even really ever have cellulite. Like, this is the first time in my life I've had cellulite. Like, most of my life I didn't have cellulite, and then I was like, my God, I've been saying that for like probably 8 years now. And I was like, the heck? That means I've had cellulite for 8 years. Like, it went from I never had cellulite before, which is true. I was like always like lean. And even if there was like fat on me, there was like more muscle and it was just taut and didn't look, I always looked athletic. And then one day I got cellulite. And then from that day, like it had been on and off. And then, like, fast forward to today, when I was thinking about it, I was like, okay, I've been saying for 8 years, like, I never really have cellulite. This is the first time. But I've had it continuously for almost 10 years. So I was like, okay, I want to do something about it, like, for real, for real. Because before, like, those little intermittent times where I didn't have cellulite, I would just lose weight, which is, yeah, if you lose weight, you'll lose the cellulite. But that's not really what's been bothering me about the cellulite. What's bothering me about the cellulite is that the the fact that I'm it's not about like getting fat. It's like I'm getting bigger, smaller, whatever with the cellulite. And like I used to only ever have it in my inner arms where the bicep was. And that was weird because like I had muscle. I had a lot of muscle in my arm, but I still had it there. And now I have it all over. Like I have it at the back of my legs, back of my calves, my stomach, which I never had it in my never in my life had it in my stomach. It's not in my arms. But yeah, like the fact that it like went up to my stomach, I was like, so weird. It's like not normal for me to like get it, that pervasively. And then, yeah, it's just weird. So I was like looking up different, you know, modalities or like different areas of study about cellulite. Because of course we know like, yeah, fat is an issue. And then like, yeah, because your muscles are not as the tissue's not as connected to your muscles, which is fine. Like I totally get that, which is why people usually work out to get rid of cellulite. But the other thing that really bothered me was that they were saying that it's a sign of holding anger. And the reason that made me mad, which is ironic, the reason that made me mad is because I've been working on my emotions for like since the beginning of 2017, and I had thought I cleared everything. So that the fact that there's like a physical manifestation of an unworked through emotion was like freaking me out. Also too because I don't feel angry. So I was like, okay, that's even scarier. It's like I don't feel angry, but I'm so angry that it's popping out all over my whole body. And like not just the cellulite too, but I've been having I don't know how to explain it. The little Morgan Freeman moles that black people get. Like I was having that. I've been this is the most I've ever had it, and it's like on my face, my neck, and then a little bit on my chest. So I was like, okay, that also too is a manifestation of anger. And I was like, there is something wrong because I don't feel angry. I feel really calm, but I have two separate widespread manifestations of what anger is supposed to be, like what the result of anger. So basically the little moles is like you're so angry that your skin erupts. And then technically those little moles are technically warts. So then a wart is technically the outcome of a virus. So even worse. And then the cellulite is supposed to be that if your your liver is associated with anger. So like your liver has to filter out different hormones and different byproducts of what you ingest, like food, and certain hormones that are associated with stress and anger. I forgot the name of them. It's not cortisol. Like it definitely filters estrogen and things like that. But so whatever the byproduct that your body makes when you're angry, because it's like any emotion will trigger a biological response in your body. So like people are like, oh, toxins, blah blah blah, you made that up. I'm like, no, I'm not saying actual toxins. Like there are names for each toxin. I just can't remember the name of this particular byproduct, which is it'll be a hormone that courses through your body when you're angry. or when you're suppressing it. So anyways, if you're that angry all the time and it's always filtering through your liver and your liver is just overloaded from like everyday things plus you're angry like 24/7, then what happens is it doesn't filter it out correctly. It goes back into your body, and that's when you get the physical manifestations of it. So like, for example, your liver is supposed to help with the digestion of I forget what it's called. It's not grease. It's like, anyways, it helps with reducing fat, but if it can't handle it, it'll just go in, that element will just go into your fat cells. Like your fat cells are like, oh, don't worry, I'll take care of it for you, and they'll just get stuck there, and that'll create the cellulite. Yeah. Anyways, so sorry, I was burping. So I decided, I was like, okay, look, I want to get rid of my cellulite, but I don't want to just get rid of it by losing weight. I mean, obviously I'm trying to lose weight, but not just losing weight, because I want to understand the heck is going on with the cellulite. Like, I want us to understand what in my body is wrong that I'm getting, or not even my body, what in my life is wrong that I'm getting cellulite. Because I've done it before where I lost weight and it looked fine. Like, I looked like normal again, but I was like, yeah, but technically when you do that, you just lost the fat, so the fat can't hold on to the toxins, but it does not mean that you have resolved the underlying issue. So I think was last week or something, I was like, all right, I'm mad. I don't know what I'm mad about. I don't feel mad, but I'm gonna let little things get to me and like blow it up all the way through. So I let like little things tick me off, like either my taller half, I let him tick me off and just like blow it all the way through, and I'm like, okay, that I can see why that makes me mad. Or like people at the store doing things, you know, like annoying people, just let that blow all the way through and see like where my train of thought goes. And you know, some of it's like victim mentality, some of it's like control issues. And then I had a friend, so I didn't even look, it's like I didn't know where to look, so I was just like letting things come to me. But then I'm not gonna say, I don't want to say names or whatever, but someone brought to my attention that another person was doing something, and the thing that they were doing was basically, let me give you an example, like a concrete, I'm not going to use a real example, but let's say you love cacti. Oh, you love cacti, you collect cacti, and it's like your joy in life. And the reason you collect cacti is because when you were a child, you fell on a cacti, and the scar that it gave you was like a unique symbol that carried you through so many wonderful things in your life. And so now that's your special bond with cacti. Like, yeah, they went through that hipster phase where everyone, or even still, like, you know, you pay like whatever, $7 for like a little baby one, and it's in like a geometric shape or whatever. And like, yeah, there's those trends and phases where you're like, okay, for a while everyone's gonna like cacti, but they don't like cacti like you. Like, it just was a trend and it came and went, but you, for in many different ways and for many different reasons, love cacti. And you love cacti so much that you, when you have close friends or family or whatever, you share with them certain knowledge of cacti and blah 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 blah. Okay, so then now people know that you like it, and only close people you share your information or special breeds and whatever with them. And then you notice one friend is kind of like duplicating your whole obsession with cacti. Like, they have the same kinds that you have, and they are wearing cacti shirts and eating cacti meals and this and that, and you're just kind of like, okay, that's cool, like I shared with you my passion, but I don't know why you are duplicating my life and not explaining to anyone. Like, they're duplicating your life and not explaining to anyone where that came from. They're just kind of like, oh, I really am into cacti, and like, you know, and they know that the reason they're into cacti is because you shared so much of your information with them. So in your mind, you're kind of like, okay, it's cool, yeah, other people can like cacti, it's not a, I don't have a trademark on this. But at the same time, you're like, dude, what is wrong with you? Like, can you fall back? Like, can you take my obsession with cacti and then use it for like something that you like maybe you like roses, like, you know, you see that I have different variety of roses, I mean cacti, maybe you can have different variety of roses. Like, why do you also have to have the exact same hobby or interest or passion for cacti in the same way that I do. So yeah, it just got to the point where when this person showed me that this person was doing that, because I didn't know they were doing it. I mean, I kind of had hints, but I was just kind of like, nah, they're not. Like they'd be like, hey, did you know a new cacti store opened? I'm like, oh, that's nice of them. Like, I like cacti, so they're looking out for me. But then I didn't realize that they knew about these things because they were now trying to, develop this cacti obsession themselves. Like, I didn't know that. I just kind of like let that, like, oh, that's weird. Like, no one ever really knows about that stuff. Like, that's actually the store I told them about, and it's weird that they're keeping tabs on that store for me. But okay, cool. So anyways, it turned out that, yeah, this person, like, at first I was like, okay, they're kind of doing that. It's annoying. I don't own the cacti world, so whatever. But then, like, in a short period of time, like, let's say in a matter of weeks, this person keeps hitting me up with other things that are directly related to my life. And so I remember thinking, so I'm doing this thing where I'm like looking for my anger. At the same time, I'm doing what I always do in life, which is like, no, it's okay. Like, no, you can't. It's okay that they're doing this, and no, that's fine that they're doing, like, always in life, I always excuse people for their behavior. But then I was like, oh, I see. I found a pattern. I am actually angry. I'm really angry, but I'm trying to be good. Like, so the pattern is that because I want to look good, when something makes me angry, I try to wish it away by making it seem silly or illogical or not important. But the thing is, the thing that makes me angry is the thing that makes me angry. It doesn't matter if it's silly or not. I get to be angry. And if I get to be angry to the point where I draw a boundary from it. So, are you following me? Okay, sorry. There's all this stuff going on. There's like a vacuum, and I've never said this stuff out loud, so just hang in there with me. So the point was, I've never let myself get angry when something like this is making me angry, because I felt like it's not appropriate to be angry. It'd only be appropriate to be angry if someone like punched me in the face or like stole my money. So then I was like, all right, here is the trigger. I'm definitely trying to push it away. I'm just gonna let myself be angry. And I was so angry. I thought it was gonna pass in like one day, and it did not. So one day I was like, okay, I'll let myself be angry. I was like punching pillows and stuff. And I was like, okay, cool. Still angry. Next day, I'm like journaling, cussing this person out, blah, 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 blah. I thought I was going to pass. Didn't pass. Still angry. Then the next day I wake up and I'm just furious at everything. Like, furious not just at the situation, just in general. There's like all this rage in me, and I'm like punching my yoga mat and stuff, and I cannot relax. And I'm like, oh, okay, still angry. Then I just like, the whole week I was angry, and it felt like refreshing, like, oh, I'm letting it out. But at the same time I was like, this is not resolving anything. I'm still angry. Like, I don't get it. I can't just be in Hulk mode for the rest of my life. Like, what is the point of anger if it's not passing? Because in the past I've been able to kind of like transmute the anger. Like, you get angry, and then you see the underlying emotion or issue behind it, which is usually like fear or insecurity or something, and that kind of just floats away, and you get a like sense of clarity, like, oh, that's what's wrong, and now I know what to do. But in this case, all I kept seeing was how angry I am and why I was angry and how much I'm going to kill this person if I ever see them, but the anger wouldn't go away. Flash forward to, I don't even know how many weeks after that, maybe like a week, 2 weeks after that, the person that I kept being angry at kept coming into my circle of communication, not by like, I wasn't instigating it at all. And then I was like, it clicked, and I was like, oh, I see. So symbolically, skin equals barriers or boundaries. And the reason my anger was still like rolling, and the reason all of the manifestations keep coming through my skin, like the little moles and the cellulite, like something I can see in my skin, is because I wasn't erecting boundaries against the person I was angry with. Because anger is like a flash of like, not cool, not safe, I'm gonna put a boundary up. But I just kept feeling the emotion and no boundaries, so my anger was like, well, we're still threatened, so we can't leave. We can't stop being angry until the safety, until like I see the safety line. And like the safety line would be you as a person saying, either putting a boundary, like, I guess it would always be just something you say. Or like, let's say that you're being chased by a dog or whatever, like you'd still be scared or angry or whatever you were until you crossed the fence that he couldn't jump over. So in this case, I felt like this person was breaking all my boundaries, and my boundaries are of my personal aesthetic and just being, like my preferences, like the thing that they were the cacti issue was kind of like a really personal thing for me, and I felt like this person was just like, oh, that's cool, I'm gonna take over that too. So I didn't have, and it's not the first time it happened in my life. It's happened so many times in my life. There was even a point where I had someone who was like a friend kind of like survey me and try to see what all my personal preferences were so that they can just mimic them. Like people would be like, oh, what do you guys like? And then they would like wait for me to answer, and they'd be like, me too. We're like, why don't you answer first? And then they'd answer first, and then if mine was different, like, I like that one too. And you're like, okie dokie. And that's, so again, it's happened before, and I've done nothing about it, and now it's happening again, and I'm like, okay, the reason it keeps happening and the reason there's like all this hidden anger is because it keeps happening and I keep accepting it when I really am not cool with it. I have to put up a boundary. So I did. I calmly, I didn't do any of the raging, angry talk that I did. I was just kind of like, hey, this is the boundary. Like, not saying sorry, but just like, hey, yeah, I know that this has been happening, but now here's the boundary. So, yeah. Then I just left it at that. And after I did that, I think I was still a little angry, and then days after it just kind of went away. Like, the anger stopped. I don't really have a cool transition about that or anything, but that was just one way of seeing that, yeah, all the stuff going on with my body is partly because of the anger, and I'm trying to find other ways now. I'm like, what else is making me angry? Every time I get angry, I just like let it out and like shout or whatever, and then like I just move on from it. But yeah, that was like a big thing that was crazy, that was like hidden under everything, that I was seriously angry about people who like break boundaries in terms of my life, like the things that I like to do. Okay, so that's one thing, getting the anger out, the emotions. The other thing is like people always talk about how poor circulation. We're talking about cellulite, just FYI, like this whole video is gonna be about cellulite. I'm just all over the place. But going back to cellulite, people are like, okay, also too, blood flow. When you have cellulite, you're not getting a lot of blood flow to that area. And I was like, oh, I'm not getting a lot of blood flow to the back of my legs, like my butt, my hamstrings, back of my legs. Again, according to intuitive medical people, the fact that the back of your leg, like your hamstring and your hips, is a sign that you don't want to move forward in life. Like you don't want to move towards things, like you're hesitant, so you're like putting on the brakes. Like if you ever play basketball, the muscles that they have to develop is a stop and start muscle. So like starting would be like pushing off your calves, your quads and stuff, but in order to stop, your hamstrings and stuff would have to be, you have to use them as like a stopping thing. So like, I guess it's whatever. Yeah, well, that's what it means. So like my hamstrings and my butt are holding all of this, like all the cellulite, and it's basically like, hey, we don't want to move forward. Like we don't want to go forward. We want to stay back. We want to stop. So I was like, all right, cool. There's something in my life that I want to stop. I'm sure it's like testing things out, because I'm just like kind of in a frozen mode after last year, I guess. I don't know why my voice sounds sad. I'm not sad at all. I have like a really good housewife life right now, but that's just what I sound like. I don't know. Sorry. So I think I'm thinking out loud. Okay, anyway, so that's one place where the cellulite is. The other place where cellulite is in my stomach. So I'm like, I don't understand why there, but I do know that there's no blood flowing through there, which is weird. Like, how can I get blood to flow through my stomach? I have no idea. I know my digestion is all messed up, so I'm like, maybe that's like an internal thing, but whatever. So I was looking up this like little grandpa guy. He's like a little, I don't even think he's that old, but he's like this little short and stocky Chinese guy who does Shaolin Kung Fu, and he also does it in conjunction with Qigong, like Qi as in QI. And then, I don't know, I think a lot of people do know Qigong. It's like type of self-massage, but then he uses it in tandem with Kung Fu. So that would be like, imagine like a very aggressive yoga. Like your yoga is like punching the air or something. And I always thought it was cool because I was like, oh, I want to do like fight stuff when I was younger. And I do still want to join a UFC class, like an MMA class. It's just that it's so expensive, and it's just, you know, one thing at a time. Like my house is still empty and we're trying to do this kitchen, which is getting more expensive every single day. But yeah, I was like, okay, in the future I'll do that, but it doesn't mean that I can't do anything in preparation for it. Because I remember one time I took a class and all we had to do was punch the air, like each arm for like a minute or something like that, and the next day my entire back was sore. So I was like, might as well get started now on all that little, like the intermediate, like the elementary stuff. So I haven't really been doing it, and I was like, but I follow him, so sometimes he'll put a new video up and it'll show up in my feed. And then I was like, oh, you know what? He probably knows how to move energy through your whole body, because like that's what Qigong is. Like Qi is supposed to be energy. Qi, Qi, like in Japanese it's Qi, in Chinese is Qi. So I was like, okay, let me just see how he does it. And so I was doing his little exercises, but then he also had these like sticks. And he gets the sticks, they're bamboo, it's like 108 sticks, and it's handheld thing, and you hit yourself all over your body, and it's supposed to stimulate your energy through your whole body. So I was like, oh my god, I want to do that. I want to have the sticks. And like I looked for them everywhere online and I couldn't find them. Like they were all discontinued and stuff, and they're like, the ones that I did find were like $60, but like you have to freaking do the shipping from like, I don't even know where they're coming from, and I'm in Hawaii, so everything costs like double, triple out here. And then someone else was like, yeah, don't buy them, just make them. And he was trying to explain how he made them and blah blah blah. And anyway, too, the people who were like, yeah, I bought it, but like I hit myself twice and all the sticks came apart. So I was like, okay, might as well just make it, because it doesn't look like it's like a, you know, they're literally just sticks. So I was gonna try to find that, but then I was like, you know what, I have a lot of expenses coming up. My brother and sister-in-law are coming in town, and that's gonna be like, I'm gonna go out with them a lot, and I like to do fancy things, so I'm gonna spend all my money there, and plus just a bunch of things. So I'm like, okay, what's another way to hit myself in this very like systematic way without using the sticks or buying the sticks or whatever? So then there's this lady who was like, oh yeah, like she used to be a swimmer or something, and then before the Chinese swim team would go, they'd all do this hitting, like all this like slapping tapping technique before they would get in the water, and she said that they are very like crisp because of that. So then I followed her, and she, yeah, I think, I'm not sure if she does it the same way that he does, but it's definitely still Qigong, but she hits her body like a lot in different ways, like all the way from your head. Oh, I didn't do my head today. From your head all the way down to your legs. And the better you get at it, the harder you'll be able to hit yourself. But basically, by hitting yourself, you're stimulating not only blood flow, but bone marrow production. I think anybody who does martial arts kind of knows what I'm talking about, because it's like the iron hand thing, which, by the way, I did also find a really good iron hand video. It's this guy, he's like an older white guy, and he's like really round, and he's doing it on a tree. And I'm gonna do it too, but the thing is, it looks so crazy. I mean, not like crazy like, wow, that's intense. It just looks crazy like if I were to do it in the streets on a, like in the middle of the day, I will look psycho. Because basically you meditate with your hands over the tree, so you look like you're hugging the tree and squat. And then the first thing that you do is like you start scraping the tree like a bear, like all around. And I'm like, yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to do that at like 4 a.m. when no one's looking at me. So that was just the beginning of it. But then he does all of the like, you know, when you see the martial arts training part of the video where they're like hitting the wooden dummy with their forearms and stuff. Yeah. So you do that type of stuff on a tree. He was doing it like on a pine tree or something, which is like all bumpy and edgy. But I have these like beautiful palm trees over here. They're so clean. That's why I love palm trees. They're so clean. There's no bugs on them. They're like no bark. I mean, there's bark, but it's like smooth and like looks like somebody made it. The only problem with palm trees is that rats will go up them. So like they have to put this metal plate around so that the rats get like slippery halfway through, and then they don't want to make a nest on the top part. But still, like the trees here are so beautiful. So like I really do want to do that iron hand training on the tree. Oh yeah, the reason I didn't do that one too is because I didn't have the June, the special concoction that you put in your hand to heal. So like all I have is this like noni balm with lavender or something in it, but the thing is when you put it on it like really flakes, so I'm like, nah, I don't do that. So that's why I went with the lady, because she didn't need anything. Like you're not hitting yourself so hard that your hands are blistering. You don't need anything. You're just using your fists and your hands to slap your body. So anyways, that's where I'm at with my cellulite discovery methods. I don't know how long I'm going to do it. I'm going to try it for a while. Plus I'm doing more speed work. I'm trying to. I did 3 days a week last week, and it killed me. Like, it wasn't even like my muscles were sore. It was like my body. It was just so intense for my body. It was 0 to 60. Like, I've never been trained that way before. I don't have a lot of fast twitch. I'm not used to intense short workouts. So, like, I can't even feel when something's intense. Like, my taller other will tell me, like, oh, yeah, like, when he's working with his athletes, he'll be like, oh, yeah, they need to rest their nervous systems because they're tired. And he'll try to tell other coaches, like the strength and conditioning coach, like, oh, lay off them because their nervous systems are tired. And they'll be like, no, because their workouts were short and it's fine. And then, like, the athletes will be dying. And then, yeah, it's like a totally different feeling. It's not like you're sore or you're, like, tired, you can't walk. It's like your nervous system won't fire anymore. That's the type of depletion you feel. And it's not even really a feeling. You don't even feel it until you try to do something else. So, like, I didn't know. It's hard for me to gauge how tired I am. So, like, sometimes the next day I'll, like, go walking to the beach or walking around town for, like, you know, like 4 hours or something. And then my body will be done. Like, done. And that's what happened to me last week. So I ended up only working out 3 days a week because I didn't realize how done my body was. And in between the workouts, I was doing too much. So now this week, I did a really light circuit yesterday, and my calves are sore from that. And I'm going to do some heavy lifting today and like really short acceleration work. And then I'm going to try to do only 3 workouts again this week just to make sure it wasn't the frequency. And then if I'm okay, then next week I'll go to 4 days. But yeah, it's been really good. Like, I feel like it's one thing to say like, oh, I want a better body and I don't want cellulite and blah, blah, blah. Like, you can do that and it can suck and you can hate it and you can be dieting and you want to kill yourself. Or you can do it in ways that are kind of like strategic and also interesting and in a way that you get to try new things, which is what I'm doing. And it's not even like in a forced way. It's like if I didn't want to already learn like some martial arts stuff, like there's no way I would have chose like the little, you know, the slapping and all that. And there's no way I would have done any of the sprint work if I wasn't like, hey, you know, I've been a distance runner all my life. I want to try something new. And I do want to try something new. And also, too, like, if I wasn't already working on my emotional body, which that's been my focus for a long time. And I can't believe that it's still stored. I still can't believe there's, like, that much anger stored in me that it's, like, erupting everywhere. But, another note for anyone who has the little Morgan Freemans. I don't know what your dosha is. My dosha, I looked it up. I forgot the name of it, but it's the one, like when you look up your dosha, it'll tell you what herbs and stuff are best for your skin, just in general. And one of the ones that was good for my skin was rose. So just randomly, I was at Whole Foods and my taller half left me. He was like, oh, I'm going to go to the bathroom. And I was like, what? And I was just standing in the middle of Whole Foods. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go over there to the beauty and wellness center section. So I went over there and I found witch hazel with rose and aloe vera for like $4.99, a little tiny bottle. And I was like, oh, I'll just get that. It's only $4.99. And I was like, hey, do you guys have spray bottles? Because like if it's not easy, if my makeup or my lotion or anything like that is not easy to apply, I won't do it. Like, I'm so lazy. So I was like, if they don't have a squirt bottle, then it's game over, because I'm not going to take out a cotton ball to put this on my face. Like, it just takes too long for me. And they had a spray bottle, is equally as cheap, it's the perfect size. Took it home. I started using it, and it immediately started getting rid of any whiteheads, any not pimples, but like any under the skin problems that I had, like like whiteheads, and also dryness, and the little Morgan Freeman moles. They were like falling off. And at first I was like, wait, what did I do differently? Like, why are they coming off? And I was like, oh, it's the spray. Because I was like, oh, like, it's not only making my skin more acidic, because it does have some citrus acid in it, but it has grapeseed extract in it, which is antiviral, and it has aloe vera, which is making my skin like very soft. And then my dosha asked for me to use rose, and then witch hazel too is a tightening agent, so it makes the pores tighter. So it was just a perfect combination for me, and I did it kind of like, oh, this is on sale and I like rose, I'm gonna use it, because I was running out of my other toner, which had tea tree oil, which again, like, if you're like, oh, tea tree oil and I don't know, this other stuff, you're like, that should work. But again, it's not like, oh, antiviral things will get rid of viruses. It's like, it has to be the right one, and apparently the one that I just randomly bought is like perfect, and I haven't found anything that effective and easy to use since vitamin C. And I wouldn't even call vitamin C that easy to use, because you have to like mix it at least every 2-3 days to make it effective, and I just don't have time for that. So yeah, it's crazy. Like, little by little, without stress, I'm like finding out different ways to take care of the issues that I have, and it's kind of fun. I mean, the only time it's not fun is when I obsess about results, which I haven't done in a while. But sometimes when my clothes don't fit, or I want to wear certain things and it just doesn't look well, I'm like, oh, when is this going to be gone? But when I'm focusing on the journey, which is very corny and cheesy and cliche, it is kind of fun, because now I know I'm going to have iron hands one day, and I'm going to have like tough bone marrow and whatever else that punching yourself in the face, well, not the face, the head does. And I think that's all I wanted to say today. I don't know how long this is going to be. I don't think I'm going to do hour-long recordings anymore. I'm just going to be short and sweet and cut them into subject headings or whatever. I don't even know what I'm going to do. I'm going to talk when I feel like talking, and talk for as long as I feel like talking, and then that's going to be the end of that. Yeah, so no outro. Just stay tuned for other random topics.